Hey, what's up, everybody? We're doing another Q&A. This is actually questions we received from the last one, but there were so many that we were like, oh, we could just make another video. So this is our additional Q&A video, Yami Noob Unplugged, as someone called it. Yeah. So, Logan, hit us with the first question, please.
Sure. First question comes from Dave Hurst 1312, and I would like to also formally apologize for not saying your guys' names on the last Q&A. I was a little bit nervous about pronunciations, and some had some profanity, so today I'm going to say your names, and if it's profane, I apologize. And if I mispronounce it, I also apologize. First question, Dave Hurst. As CFMOTO continues to maintain its foothold in the US as the first reputable Chinese dealer, will we begin to see a new generation of riders considering them as a serious option? And if so, how do you think the bigger names will respond?
I think this is already happening.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
this is already happening. We're seeing this here in Austin and throughout the whole US. The rise to CFMOTO has been so quick and so like kind of all encompassing. You know, 2-3 years ago, not more, I would say 4 or 5 years ago, we were getting invites to go to like CFMOTO press events. And I remember talking to the team at the time, like, why are we going to go promote these? Why are we going to talk about these Chinese bikes? Like, what's up with these things? They're making their 300 SS bikes. But to use a geopolitical term, we live in a multipolar world now, where the big four and the CFMOTO and maybe other Chinese brands will coalesce and kind of interact. And in a market that's always going to cause dynamics and issues, and we see Honda responding. Honda's slashing prices across all their bikes, competing with these Chinese brands, knowing that they cannot sell a CBR 500 for $8,000 anymore.
Sure.
So I think we're already living in that world. I see CFMOTOs all the time now. They're probably more frequent than I see Japanese bikes, which is crazy.
At least in terms of like, which is funny. So I love questions like this that kind of foreshadow. Like I think the day after this video comes out, we have the video kind of talking about this idea about CFMOTO and the influx of Chinese motorcycles and how it could change the market and the landscape in general. And one of the themes we talk about in that video is how it's kind of maybe CFMOTO will cater to a very specific customer, and then the big four will sort of maybe ascend to a more premium buyer, right? And I see this on my commute to work every day. I see young kids on CFMOTOs, and I see older guys on leader bikes or hyper nakeds or whatever. I don't see very many young people on small displacement, older Japanese motorcycles anymore. They're like, yeah, why would I buy a used Ninja 400 if I could just get a brand new 450 SS or even 675 SS for the same price?
Yeah, I see a lot of kids on CFMOTOs. The Japanese bikes I see are all older 600s, funny enough. Sure. I see a lot, like the other day I saw a guy like pulling up to a stoplight on a R6, I see a lot of ZX6s. I think that's kind of the bread and butter for the Japanese brands. And then, like flagship bikes, old dudes on BMWs. Yeah, almost always here in Austin anyways. But that's just our local market. It could be different where you live. So yeah, that's a broad question and one that we will be answering, to your point. Tomorrow. If I think about the schedule, is tomorrow's video, so.
Next question comes from Ratchet on Discord. Coming from a Honda fan, what would Harley need to do to their large touring models, i.e. Street Glide, Ultra Limited, Road Glide, for you to want to own one?
All right, not to sound like too much of a Debbie Downer, but there is probably nothing Harley could do to make me interested in their bikes. And that is less of a price thing. It's less of a specs thing. It's just simply like a lifestyle and brand thing, like there's certain cars I wouldn't own because it would just say something about me. I think of like a Cybertruck. Like I just, no matter what that vehicle does, I would never own one because of what it would say about me. Sure. And Harley does have that brand perception. There is definitely a type of person that owns a Harley and you buy into that lifestyle. So really, from a product point, there's just nothing they could really do to get me interested in one of them. Basically nothing.
Yeah.
Is there anything they could do?
Give me one for free.
You would do one for free?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have no qualms. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, if a Road Glide or Street Glide magically showed up at my doorstep and they're like, have fun, oh, yeah.
All right. Well, Harley, if you're watching this and you want to work with the channel, they don't. Send Logan over here, Street Glide. He said he'll simp for you as the day is long, dude.
Well, I didn't say that. I said I would happily own one and ride one and have some fun with it, cruise around. And I think it's like, obviously not to get too deep or heady or contextual, but it's unplugged. That's what it's for. It's like, you're an immigrant, right? So it's like, I don't think you're American enough to
Why'd that feel so charged when you said it?
to understand like the irony of it, where it's like, for me, yeah, I don't agree or align myself with the Harley Davidson brand, but I'm like American enough to be like ironically American. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like
I
ironically
will
patriotic.
to give my fellow immigrants some credit. Some immigrants, and I've seen Brazilians specifically do this because I'm Brazilian American. They will like over Americanize themselves
Sure.
to like try to assimilate. So
Right.
we knew guys like in Orlando who like they bought Sportsters and baggers because
Right.
they were like, I'm an American now, you know.
So
I mean, my dad did that. He bought a V8 Expedition because he's like, I'm an
yeah,
American,
yeah,
baby.
sure.
Like, so I don't know, like,
But there's
yeah.
definitely an element to it there, because I think about like the difference, like you and I align in terms of taste on so many different things.
Yeah.
But you don't have the ironic
No.
touch that I have towards Americana.
I can't do it. Yeah, it was something that just skipped out on me. Yeah, I don't know. Just never infiltrated my brain.
And that's all right.
Yeah,
It's a melting pot.
that's true. Yeah.
All right, next question. Sean Duncan on Discord says, how does one attack a corner that doesn't require brakes? A turn or a high-speed corner, perhaps? Bike turn good when front brakes compressed, okay to turn when not, or is there an alternative method?
It's like I'm listening to my toddler. Bike turn good
Right.
when do this.
And that's why I
Just
left the
kidding.
question to you, not just because you're far more advanced
Yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of riding skill, because you have the toddler language.
Yes, yeah. So to me, a corner that doesn't require brakes isn't really a corner.
Sure.
The only reason you would use your brakes or load the front suspension is to carve a radius with the bike. If you don't need to do that, oftentimes you can just let off the gas a little bit, let the front end settle, and then, take that corner. But again, like if you're not having to brake, to me, it's not much of a corner. If it's just a bend in the road, you actually can, on some tracks, like you can actually stay full pin and just tilt it a little bit and still take it. It can be like literally sometimes all it is though is like you'll literally just like you're at 100%, you'll roll to 80 to get it to tip, and then you're back to 100. And I can only do that on 400s. I've never had the balls to do that on like 1,000.
Sure.
That's really crazy and pretty scary. But I remember endurance racing 400s. There are plenty of corners because the bike's not that fast. It'll roll off a little bit, let it settle, and then you're back on it. So that's for track stuff. For road stuff, you can just keep a neutral throttle, and if it's not, you just carve a line. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well articulated. You did a good job of piecing together this.
Thank you. I think that's what he was asking.
No, 100%. Yeah. All right, this next one's from Andrew540 on YouTube. Can we talk about roads?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm assuming the prevalence of potholes is universal. Certainly here in semi-rural Oz, the deteriorating state of the smaller and interesting paved roads necessitates riding something like a V-Strom. Essentially, they love the engine but don't like the face, so they got an SB. So, is it possible to ride something other than an adventure bike in many parts of the world? I guess that's sort of what he's asking.
Yeah, this is an interesting question and one that has been on my mind, especially here in Austin, as one of our favorite roads. Lime Creek Road has become riddled with speed bumps, gravel, potholes, just not in really that great shape. And I've noticed over the years as I've ridden my Touareg more that it has become an adventure road. It's become, a road that necessitates long travel suspension. And perhaps it's why adventure bikes are becoming so popular because people are realizing that, America's roads and a lot of places are pretty bad.
Yeah, for sure.
And having that extra cushion is nice. Maybe it's also why SUVs are popular because you can just cruise over, speed bumps, children, Walmart parking lots,
Liberals.
whatever, liberals. Yeah, just mow them all down, But it's something I've seen too on press launches in Spain and in Europe. The roads are billiard smooth, and if you have a road like that, sport bike's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
But I personally wouldn't really want to own a sport bike with very taut suspension on the roads we live in here because it's just too much bumpiness. Yeah. And Oz, I believe he's referring to Australia, not the land of Oz, nothing like that. That's my take on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because here in the South, the roads are better than where I'm from.
That's
But
crazy.
they're still pretty gnarly. And yeah, it's like there's a reason we both kind of gravitate towards the middleweight adventure stuff. It's just really functional. Even if you're not doing long haul adventures or serious off-road stuff, it's very nice on the decaying urban infrastructure.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think it's just a reality we got to live in.
Yep.
All right, next question. Adam Prokofiew on Discord. Have you guys done a collab with Keanu Reeves? That'd be cool.
Have we done a collab with Keanu Reeves? We have not.
If anything, quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite.
Anti-collab.
Yeah, you're talking about the
Yeah.
what is it? What's his
Arch.
Arch motorcycles. So funny story about this. If you guys don't know it, I've told this story a few times. We got connected with Arch motorcycles in like early 2022. They were super into the idea of us going out to California, seeing their facility, riding a few of their bikes. And this email chain was like maybe 10 or 12 messages in. We're buttering them up. They're buttering us up. Everything's looking good. And I don't know why I decided to say, hey, this is a video we've made on you guys actually in the past. This is something we've made. We've talked about Arch before on the channel. Check it out. I didn't, and this is so foolish of me because who knows what I've said in previous videos, right? And so I lobbed off that email, sent the link, I went to bed, I was like, cool, whatever. I woke up the next morning and the message I received was, Eric, I'm not really sure why you would send this email or why you'd even contact us in the first place. Please disregard all previous communications with Arch. We don't want to work with you, but just like very firmly telling me to basically pound sand. And I thought, what the hell did I say in that video? And I boot up the video, and in the first 30 seconds, it starts basically being like, no one should ever buy one of these. They're really over expensive and whatever. And so totally nuked the opportunity with Arch there. But that goes to show you guys how anti-corporate and punk we are on this channel. I don't acquiesce to anybody. People always think I'm some sort of shill, but honestly, we're probably the biggest kind of counterculture motorcycle channel. I do my own goddamn thing here on this channel. I don't really care.
Yeah, sending scathing videos to manufacturers, pretty hardcore move. I respect it.
Yeah, it was unintentional, but yeah. So anyways, the other thing I would say about this is, would we ever collab with Keanu Reeves? Of course, I would. The issue, though, is Keanu, if you think about like the layers of clout,
a little above our pay grade.
A little above where I'm at. I have like D-tier internet fame. Keanu is a world-renowned and respected actor. Here's what I'll tell you. If Keanu Reeves shows up to an event, cameras are on him. They want to know what he's doing. There's who's he talking to. And MotoGP events are like, hey, Keanu's in the box, and this is so cool. Nobody's doing that with me. No, literally nobody. I have like some weeaboo with like a waifu pillow. It's like, oh my God, I love you, and I'm like, this is awesome. That's about the extent of my fame. So we're not simpatico with our levels of fame.
Yeah, a little bit of different ecosystem.
Different ecosystem. So that's a long-winded answer on have we collabed with Keanu? No, we have not.
Sure. All right, next question. Parish75 from Discord. I've been riding for 2 years now, and I feel like I'm stuck at my experience level. I live in Nebraska where it's all flat with no twisty roads or tracks to go to. Other than moving, what can I do to still get better at riding?
Nebraska. That's like 3 states north of us, right? It's Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, right? It's one of the ones in the middle there. Boy, I'll tell you, I would personally move. Nebraska is not really like a riding destination. Maybe if there's racetracks nearby, but I also don't think it's much of a racetrack destination.
No,
there's probably maybe one racetrack in Nebraska. I have no idea. I think, okay, let's take a more positive approach. Maybe this guy can get into, maybe there's like big warehouse parking lots. Maybe he can get into stunt riding.
Yeah,
maybe there's like a Nebraska stunt riding scene, and you could get into that, Because like here in Austin, where I live, there's really not many like big warehouses to just do like stunts in because everything's so hilly. But these kind of more flat places, go find a data center and just go do wheelies. Maybe that's what you can do. What do you think?
Yeah, or I was going to say there's probably, if anything, motocross stuff or space to make motors. So it's like, you and your buddies do like DIY skate parks. There's that DIY skate park in South Austin or whatever. I'm like, this is so cool. Maybe in Nebraska, there's enough room somewhere to have a DIY like mini like pit bike track or something. Like, I think you're just going to have to be a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
Or on the other end, it's not negative, but I'd like think motorcycles are kind of like goldfish, right? Like you're going to grow to your environment. And if you can't move out of Nebraska, if you need to live in Nebraska, maybe you have to accept your skills will plateau, right? And as long as it doesn't negate safety or functionality of your motorcycle, maybe you just accept I'm not going to be dragging elbow, right? I'm not going to do this. And you got to find ways to enjoy it and appreciate it for what you have access to. And maybe that's the project bike thing. Maybe it's, got to find other ways to stay interested and approach motorcycling from a place that's not, performance or twisties, because you're probably not going to have that in Nebraska.
That's fair. Yeah, I could see Yeah, like you do ride motocross, have a project bike, do some stunts and a wheelie ladder. I mean, that's pretty good. If you have to live in Nebraska,
Right.
my personal opinion would be maybe move out of Nebraska.
Or if tracks and stuff aren't an option, maybe your thing is a couple times a year. Save up some money, take a trip somewhere, rent a bike, right? Go to California, go wherever, and kind of experience it that way. That maybe wouldn't necessarily get better immediately, but you'd be exposed to new things and new experiences, and at the very least, be a better person for it.
It's true. It's true.
All right, next question. Andre, I'm sure San 6987 on YouTube. This is a great question. Does the SV650 feel more like a Ducati Monster than the new Ducati Monster? I know, right?
That is a compelling argument. Does it feel like more of a monster than the new Ducati Monster? I would say it does.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to say, but I think so. Because the SV's got the trellis, it's got a cable throttle, it's still a little liquid cooled 645cc V-twin. Sounds cool, goes nice, simple. And as many of you know, I have a Monster 1100S now, so I'm qualified to talk about all things Monster, apparently.
Okay.
Damn, I think it is. I'd never thought about it that way.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this question. I have actually the perfect analogy that sort of, I think, validates this thesis. So it's like how artificially flavored banana things, banana flavored candy, banana pudding or whatever, supposedly tastes more authentic to what bananas used to taste like before they were genetically modified and mass produced or whatever, because they took that flavor and then solidified it. That's the flavor of banana. And then bananas themselves changed, So I think the SV650 is that the extraction of that Monster flavor preserved in a flavor warehouse for 100 years. Well, the Monster itself changed and grew.
That is I have to hand it to you. That's really good.
Yeah, right?
That's really good. That's why I pay them the big bucks.
Yeah. Banana analogies, flavor analogies. But
I love that. Yeah.
But I think it's the exact same situation.
Yeah.
Preserved in time. All right, this one is from Squabbles on Discord. I'm getting myself my first bike for my 30th birthday. Happy birthday.
Congrats.
I'm like 7 years away or so, but looking forward to it myself.
Nobody
Not super interested in speed, and I'll be commuting on it mainly, but would also like to enjoy it on the weekends. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so weather is a factor. What do I get? CB750 is my thought.
So he's commuting a little bit.
Commuting, little weekend fun.
Lives in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. So yeah, let's rule out any. And this is his first bike.
Yes, but he's 30
He's 30. Okay, let's rule out any Exotica, Italian. He needs a workhorse if he's going to be commuting with it. If he's 30 years old, needs something that does a little bit of everything. My mind is kind of going towards like a kind of like CFMOTO Ibex 450 type of thing, or like a Himalayan. Because if he lives in the Pacific Northwest, he has access to like really cool like trails and BDR stuff, ADV stuff, and something lightweight like that would work pretty well. I would say, maybe Himalayan 450, Ibex CFMOTO 450, whatever that thing is. You could commute with it. I love how I said get something tried and true. I get like the Indian and the Chinese bikes. Is there a comparable, KLE 500? But that's kind of boring.
Maybe, yeah. And I mean, my thinking too, they say CB750 is my thought. So obvious answer is Transalp.
That's a lot of bike though, even for a 30-year-old. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you own one.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a
it
big
depends
bike.
on the 30-year-old, I guess.
Depends on the 30-year-old.
Maybe he's been driving V6 Mustangs for 10 years, and he's used to peak speed and power and performance,
He's like, bro, I drove a manual V6 Mustang when I was in high school. I'm ready for the leader bike.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, or even just, used DRZ milk crate.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's not as great for commuting though, kind of vibrational, kind of, that's why I was saying like multi-cylinder, CFMOTO. And they're so cheap too, like what if he doesn't like motorcycling is my thing? Like I think that's a low stakes way to get into it. You can commute with it, have fun with it. They're not going to be intimidating in any way. That's maybe.
So entry level, maybe the 450 GS comes out.
Yeah, and I say that mostly because of his environment. The Pacific Northwest is beautiful. You could go tour, you could go see cool stuff. You want a bike that could do that.
Yeah, and if it's, rainy, whatever, a little bit of wind protection does help with that.
Yeah.
And, puddles, and I don't know what the roads are like out there. They're probably...
Yeah, but those kind of like dual sport tires handle, like more slippery conditions better
sure,
anyway,
right.
so.
All right, next question. Emma O'Neill, 579 on YouTube. What's more important for someone's first bike if they are shorter riders? Being able to flat foot a bike that is heavy or being able to tiptoe on a lighter bike?
So we made a whole video about this. We made a whole video talking about the nuances of short rider bike choices. I personally think a lighter bike is better no matter what.
100%.
A lot of people get into this mindset of like, oh, but the seat height, and then they end up with some like 500-pound cruiser. I don't think that's the right choice. A lighter bike is always just easier. Everything's easier.
Yeah, once you get moving, like a lighter bike is going to be a lot easier to handle and a lot less scary. Like, yeah, you're doing a U-turn and it goes down and you got a 500-pound cruiser and you're a 5'2" young lady or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a lighter bike, I think, will always trump a heavier bike for sure.
Yeah, I mean, anecdotally, I just brought the Grom over here to the shop to film something else today, and yeah, unloading it was like unloading a Huffy bike.
Yeah,
I was
right.
just like, moved it, tossed it around. So yeah, lighter I think is always better.
100%. This is from Bike Volt Rides 7209 on YouTube. How do I convert my Vespa riding friends to ride big bikes?
Ooh, so I imagine he's got a crew of Vespa guys, and he wants
so.
to get them to join the proper motorcycling side. That's tough. I've often found that guys who have Vespas are motorcycle guys too. Specifically Vespas, I feel like are more of like an enthusiast coded
100%,
brand, and typically guys already have motorcycles.
At least here in the States.
At least here in the States. I know that international and in Europe it's just like Vespa, just a Vespa. But how do you get someone on a Vespa to jump to a motorcycle? Because like they're twist and go, right? So no gears. So that's kind of, but then maybe they're worried about the gears. So maybe you get them on like an automatic bike. Maybe there's Honda e-clutch, quick shifter system, no clutch required. Maybe get a CB750. I would ask like, what's stopping them from jumping on a real motorcycle? I'd want to know like what's the reason they haven't done the big boy stuff.
Yeah. So I would say, first of all, it's Pride Month, and I don't believe in conversion therapy. So, so maybe you need to...
Jesus Christ.
Maybe you need to become a Vespa person. If all your friends are being peer pressured, join the cool kids and be the Vespa. But no, my actual answer is, so I had a friend growing up when I was learning to ride and stuff, and he had like a little... old like 175 like two-stroke like enduro bike, and it was like plated and stuff, and in Michigan they don't really care, you just bop around town. And he didn't really have any interest in like getting into bigger motorcycles or more powerful motorcycles. He's have other hobbies and all this stuff. I let him ride my big bike, and then I sold him my big bike and I got a new one, and like that was all. So maybe you just have to be like, hey, ride this, take it around the block, and if it's, especially if it's not a skill issue or a means issue, just like they've never experienced how fun it can be to ride a bigger bike.
Yeah, because Vespas are obviously very fun, but yeah, bigger proper motorcycles they're really fun too. Especially if you've never ridden anything like real torque and power. You're like, yeah, this is sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
It never gets old. Yeah.
All right, next question is from Bog Beefus on Discord.
Beefus.
Memes aside, what's your honest opinion on the hypersport bikes, i.e. Hayabusa, ZX14, or other 1000cc plus sport bikes? I'm considering getting one to have a sport touring bike that leans more sport than touring.
I think the hypersport category has become kind of in the bucket of what I'm calling like sport heritage. It has kind of like phased out of utility or interest, and you can tell when a category has had this happen to it when there's no longer any competition really.
Yeah.
Like the middleweight naked segment right now is really hot, and so there's always like new stuff and new engines and new models, and you can see that's where like the money and the interest is in. These hypersport bikes, ZX14, Hayabusas, they've largely been the same for well over 20 years at this point. I mean, I know the Hayabusa is a third gen. It's basically the same Hayabusa it's been. So it's kind of like almost like a nostalgia play, almost like a quirky play to me. It's no different than getting like a V7 or, it's something kind of unique that you'd want to get just because you think it's cool. I don't think they serve any functional purpose. Because the thing is, like, the Hayabusa was the fastest bike in the world. It's no longer they're not the fastest anymore. They don't handle the best. They don't tour the best. They really don't do anything that great except like, you can just pile on speed really effortlessly. So that's kind of my take on them.
Yeah, and it's like they say, memes aside, I feel like you said, there's a specific emotional element, or like you can't get away from the memes of bikes like that. That's kind of fundamentally why they're still being sold and why anyone would still ride it, because there are so many other bikes that do the similar thing better
Yeah.
in 2026.
Yeah, like you get a brand new Busa, you're not getting it because it's the
No.
fastest thing. You're getting it because it's
Yeah.
a Busa. It's funny, like it's cool. Like
Right.
it's cool to you, and you want to own that. That's
Yeah.
totally valid.
So yeah, either embrace the memes or get a Ninja 1000 or something.
Yeah.
All right, this comes from Mini Moto on YouTube. Where do you see motorcycles and motorcycling in the next 10 to 15 years based on society's current trajectory?
You weren't kidding. That is a big question.
Right.
Where do I see motorcycling in the next 10 to 15 years based on society's current trajectory? I mean, this is something we've talked about on this channel a lot lately. Because as many of you know, I have an economics degree. I'm very interested in geopolitics and society and all these. I read a lot about this stuff. Logan is also a student of culture. He likes knowing about all those sorts of things. And this is a topic we've talked about a lot. And you can see how motorcycling is merely, I would say, a victim of what's happening broadly in society, where the rich are getting richer, people are getting left behind, there's no more middle segment of the market. And so to me, in the next 10 to 15 years, we're just gonna see, unless there's a really radical change in what's happening, probably a ton of entry-level cheapo bikes, mostly from China and India, who are able to produce those motorcycles at much lower costs than Japan, America for sure. You're not gonna see an entry-level American bike made in America, no chance.
For sure.
No matter what politicians say about anything about made in America, those days are long gone. It's not going to happen unless magically we wake up and wages are twice what they are yesterday, which is not going to happen. So I think Chinese, India are going to dominate entry level. Japan is going to move, like we've been talking about, more middle and premium, maybe entry level a little bit if they can get the costs down. Like Honda's doing a good job. And then Euro manufacturers, they've been doing this for years, like mostly just focused on high end. Triumph is a little different because they're doing the entry level stuff. And I think we're just going to see it just getting wider. I think also in the next 10 to 15 years, we might see a bit of a resurgence in two-wheeled stuff because of all these kids who are on e-bikes now and having fun on motorized vehicles. I see them in my neighborhood all the time, having fun. Maybe they'll graduate to motorcycling because they're like, well, I don't want to give up riding. Like, this is fun. So that's kind of that's some of the trends I see. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think just culturally, like we're already seeing the cycles happen, right? Of like people, 5 to 10 years younger than us were not interested in motorcycles or two-wheeled stuff, the kind of terminally online era. And then the generation younger than that is back to being more excited about going outside, analog tech or old school tech. You see that, like those videos all the time of like how old tech revitalize my interest in whatever. And so I think in the next 10 to 15 years, there will be a new resurgence of people that like graduated from the e-bikes or are fighting against this like digital world, right? And want to do things grassroots, DIY, outside with their hands, tactile engagement, right? And I think at the same time, maybe, I mean, this is what I would like to see because you see it again in other industries and other categories, there be resurgence in cooler, more heritage stuff. And I think as there's going to be more like mass produced, mass appeal, CFMOTOs, Royal Enfields, like, globally manufactured bikes, I'd like to think there will simultaneously be a counterculture undercurrent to that, fosters the interesting, characterful, more heritage models, even if that's just like a kind of DIY builder scene versus mass produced, like globally made bikes. Either way, it's like how in like Japan, there's like chopper culture is like huge in Japan, which doesn't really make any sense, but it's like American cultural export. I just think there's gonna be cool, more underground grassroots stuff at the same time as a foil to the mass appeal, cheap, whatever stuff.
Yeah. I also really hope that there is at some point a complete wiping of the slate and not a over-romanticization of the past and heritage and nostalgia products. Like, we did that ZX Moto video and I thought it was really cool. Like some of the B-roll, you can just tell this is such a unique and different culture that exists completely outside of what we're doing. Like I saw there was like some guy on Zhang Shui's team, like fully tatted, like slick mohawk, like a very interesting visual aesthetic to this person that has nothing to do with what we're doing here. And so I would really like to see, like maybe people don't, it's like, oh, I'm going to build a cafe racer in my garage. It's like, no, I'm going to take this CFMOTO and do something with it. I want us to culturally evolve and move beyond the death grip that boomers have had over our collective consciousness for like 60 years. if I see one more article when I'm at the grocery store talking about the 60s or whatever, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm like, I don't care. That was 40 years before I was even born. What does that have anything to do with me?
Right.
And the thing I bring back about this is nobody in the 60s, when they lived in that time, was looking at like the 1920s and be like, oh, those were the days. Oh man, we got to go back to the 20s. Like they lived in the here and the now and the moment. They did what they needed to do at that time. So in motorcycling, in culture, that's what I want to see. I want to see progress. I want to see forward momentum. I'm so tired of holding on to the past. The past is gone. Let it go.
Yeah. And I would like to clarify by heritage and things, I didn't mean, because we always talk about the cafe racer things over, choppers are over. I don't mean that, but just like a appreciation for like real things before things got all like weird and fake and like corporatized and shitified or whatever.
Yeah.
Like in, again, the parallels I was talking, it's like 2000s tech. Essentially, I feel like that's going to be the new heritage of things that are functional. And it's like back when you could use the internet, you could look at a recipe without 17 different advertisements. Like, every time I try to cook dinner, I almost throw my phone at, well, anyway, I'm getting all worked up. But anyway, moving on, next question. Angry Pickle Pot on Discord says, would you ever do a giveaway for a KTM 990 RCR?
I wanted to do one of these bikes, but two things happened. Number one, as many of you know, my family's expanding. My track time has gone down. And the 990 RCR is a very track-oriented motorcycle, and I feel like it's almost like a disservice to get that bike and not ride it on track and evaluate it on track. Just riding it like a street bike is a bit silly.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's that. And then the second thing is, KTM is a little polemic right now, let's say. I think the brand is not hot water necessarily, but it's sort of like when we do giveaway bikes, it needs to be something that people are excited about, hyped up on, want to win and own. I don't think many people want to win and own a KTM at this time.
Sure, yeah.
That's my
fair.
thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited about it, and then I saw the things Matthew Woods did to his, and I said, I can't.
All right,
do it.
I'll chalk that off on the whiteboard. You got your Matthew Woods mention for the week.
If I had an Instagram, I would message him and say, dude, I'm just messing with you. I think you're a cool guy, but I don't. So that's why I think there is no beef. I think he's a nice young man. I just think he's funny.
He's on my DMs. I can pull him up and have you.
But then I have to get just like, okay, you can do it. Okay. You can do that. You can say, producer Logan says, hey, you're a cool guy. Sorry, I tease you every day.
We're doing it right now.
Okay.
Matthew Woods, you're in a Yami Noob video right now. Producer Logan mentioned you again, and he just wants you to know something.
Hey, man, I just want to say, I think you're a cool guy, nice young man. You are my window. Your content is my window into the young elements of motorcycling. And I mention you so much because I wish I was as cool as you at 22. and yeah, I just want to say there's no beef. I'm just teasing. I think you're a cool guy. Keep up the good work. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Also, hit me up if you want to collab. I think it'd be fun.
This is a good question. I like this one. It's from Gumza63 on YouTube. What would you advise less? That's always a great way to start a question. What would you advise less? So you know it's going to be good. What would you advise less? Starting on a 600cc Super Sport and then hopping onto a liter bike, or starting on something like a Ninja 4 or 500 and then moving straight onto something like an S1000 RR? In both situations, they want to end up. They're saying how do I get on a liter bike as fast as possible?
Yeah, I gathered that. Yeah. Oh my God. This is the battle we're dealing with, Logan. This is what it comes down to. What do I advise less? This is tricky. I think both are bad. Let's just call a spade a spade. Both of these options are kind of poor for motorcycling. The first one, you start on a 600. Everybody knows that's kind of a bad idea. It's too powerful. It's too committed. That is not a beginner bike, no matter what anybody says. And then you're going to develop really poor skills. And then at some point, you've lived long enough to say, oh, I'm ready for the 1,000. Then you're really in trouble because you didn't develop any skills at all. Okay, conversely, you start on the little bike, the Ninja 400, and then you develop skills. It's normal. Everything's cool. But then you say, I'm going to add 150 horsepower to this equation. I'm ready. I've seen enough. Like, who's going to die first is my question. Sure. I think probably, like, the first one is at risk immediately, right? Like, jumping on a 600 is your first bike, like, going out through the canyons when you have no clue what you're doing, probably a bad idea. You're probably going to get really hurt. But I think the second one is deceptive. Because like you could learn, and then you jump on the 1000, the S1000, it has electronics, but you don't have nearly enough skill to ride that thing. And then I think you're adding so much speed to the equation, you could really get killed. So I will say both of these are awful ideas.
Yeah, it's like we need to come up with a new way to put this into perspective. Like I was just thinking, a Ninja 400 is, or excuse me, so like a S1000RR is 300% more powerful than a Ninja 400.
That's insane.
You know, I think that math is right, but either way, it's like it's not twice as fast. It's
No,
like
it's-
4 times as fast.
It is so much faster.
Yeah, and that's crazy. And also, I'll challenge us by saying maybe you don't even need a leader bike. Maybe you don't need an S1000RR. Maybe you can find joy and happiness on a different motorcycle.
You don't need an S1000 RR. I would say my personal recommendation for bikes like that, I think you got to be at least 27 years old with at least 3 to 4 years of riding experience to do a leader bike.
Even that feels like generous.
It feels, I know it feels generous, but like I see like 19-year-old kids on like thousands, and I'm like, that is a recipe for disaster.
Recipe for disaster.
Anyways.
Next question. Moto Dad Toby on Discord. Do you think a Honda Rebel 1100 is a good motorcycle for a returning rider after 20 years away as a daily commute bike? What would you pick if you were not able to ride for years and finally able to ride again?
I guess it depends on what his experience was before the 20-year break. Like, did he ride a lot? Did he not ride a lot? I mean, this is clearly someone who's in his 40s, I guess, or 50s, right?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, someone who's kind of up there a little bit. I think a Rebel 1100 is fine. It's torquey, it's pretty fast, but it's not like blow your hair back fast. It's got like 95 horsepower, I think, and 70-something foot-pounds of torque, which I think is the same as my Monster, you know? And it's in like a cruiser chassis, which is pretty forgiving. That feels pretty good to me. I think he'd be fine.
It's not super expensive, right? Because the alternative is someone in this position goes out and spends $30,000 on a Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe it's less of a risk to your, safety or whatever, but it's more of a risk to your life.
If I can save one more person from buying a Harley Davidson, I'll do it.
So yeah, I think Moto Dad Toby, I think Rebel 1100 is a good choice.
Oh, Matthew Woods responded.
That was fast.
Preach. Also, I'm 24. So, Mr. Noob, I've been trying to collab with you for years, Bubba. I'm down. Just, I'm trying to do another track day, so maybe we can do something like that. Have fun. You can clown on me and you can run laps around me at any time.
Nice young man.
Nice young man.
I
Drop
didn't
a
know he
comment
was
down
older
below.
than me though.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
24?
Yeah, you're 23.
Yeah, wow.
Does anybody believe it is the question. I don't think so.
I think you have to be like really old. Like all the Janus riders that comment probably are like, oh yeah.
I saw he got a van,
Oh yeah?
and I told him, I was like, yeah, just come on down, you know?
Cool.
Yeah.
Overheating in a van trying to sleep.
He doesn't have to sleep in the van. I
yeah,
don't
it's
recommend that in Texas heat. That's
Yeah.
a bad idea.
All right. Jesus is King on Discord says, how to stay cool and geared during the 90+ degree weather. Just pour cold water all over me? What's some good summer gear?
90 plus. It's not even hot. I have to say it as a Texan. To me, hot starts at 100. Then you're like, all right, I got to start thinking about cooling strategies. Okay, if you want to actually think about this, hydration, number one. Get some really nice cold ice water in a backpack. You can stay hydrated. That'll keep you cool much longer. Number two, take more frequent breaks while you're riding and make sure you do some strategies to stay cooler while riding. What I love to do, since I don't have any hair, I go to a gas station, grab some ice, rub it all over my head, put my helmet back in, nice and cool for at least another 30 minutes. I put some ice on my neck too. Cool down your head and your neck. That's definitely the number one thing you want to do. You can also wear a cooling vest too if it's super hot. Textile gear, airflow gear, always really good. And that's about it. That should get you most of the way there.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is I like the neck gaiter. And you get the cup of ice from the gas station, or cold water, ice water. You soak the neck gaiter in that. You put that on. It's gonna dry in like 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
It's still nice.
But those 10 minutes are very nice.
Yeah, because you start going at speed and it's AC.
Yeah, right.
Really nice. Yeah, I forgot about that technique. That's true.
All right, next question is from Kingslayer on Discord. If you could Thanos snap one category of that's some licensed IP. We might get copywritten for that. If you could Thanos snaps one category of motorcycle from existence, what would it be and why?
One motorcycle category that disappears.
Yeah.
Hypersport, the Busa, the X14. I don't think we'll miss too much.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like we'll miss some memes, we'll miss some good times, but ultimately, we'll be fine.
Sure.
Yeah. What about you?
metric cruisers for sure.
Oh, that's a
Like
good
not,
one. Yeah,
not
good
like
one.
the Rebel, but like the Vulcan, like anything with like riveted leather and like a V twin with cooling fins, but it's liquid cooled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
a
I
bit
don't
goofy.
Boulevard, those sort of things. I don't like those.
Okay.
Irish Trash 5. Have you ever been sketched out by one of the giveaway winners or scared of them?
Scared of them? No, I've never been scared of a giveaway winner. Sketched out? There's two quick stories I'd like to tell. One, I won't name any names or anything, but there was one giveaway winner who I had a really hard time getting a hold of him. I was able to find his Facebook page, messaged him, heard back from him. He just, I looked on his profile. It seemed a little skeevy, and I was like, all right, whatever. And, I sent him the bike because he did win. I find out like 6 months later or a year later that the bike has been impounded and he never transferred ownership to himself from the title. And so I got a call from his PD basically being like, hey, your bike's been impounded. And I was really confused. I was like, what bike of mine's been impounded? And then I saw where the phone call came from, and I started piecing it together, and I told him, I was like, hey, I have nothing to do with that, so that was kind of weird. I never heard from him again, so no idea what happened to him. The other story is we did have a giveaway winner one time who was incarcerated, and he won, I believe, after he had been incarcerated, because I looked him up on Google because I couldn't get a hold of him. And
Like a mugshot or something?
no mugshot, but I found his name and his location and said he was, indicted and, was in prison. And I thought, well, that sucks. And I mean, it's in the rules. Like, if I can't get to you, can't win the bike.
Right.
That was a long time ago. I think that was back in 2019. So also, really long time ago. So
Yeah. Any of the instances where you've like delivered bikes in person, no one's like wanting to like harvest your organs or anything? They're not like, oh, come inside.
no, it's always the opposite. I've delivered a few bikes in person. It's always like the whole family comes out to meet me. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, like the mom always comes out and she's like, can't believe he won this. Oh my God. I got a free bottle of wine one time, which was really nice. She was like, my sister has this wine. I was like, oh, awesome. I'll take that. It's a lot of fun. I always feel like Santa Claus.
Yeah. No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think the Yami Noob community is hopefully a predominantly non-scary people that if someone would win, would not scare you
No.
or harvest your organs. Next question is from I'm on Discord. I know you mentioned not doing club racing currently, and you have a new family to look after, but would you have jumped at the opportunity to participate in something like the 990 RCR Cup?
Well, if KTM's MotoGP reputation and reliability is any indication, nobody's finishing that series because their bikes keep blowing up and not working correctly.
Wow.
KTM's not in good states right now. Would I do that? Sure, absolutely. I think it'd be fun to do a spec series race like that. Why not?
Cool. A farting goat on Discord. Do you have any other hobbies? Painting, comedy, playing guitar, or anything you're just super into or nerdy about? I'm a stand-up comedian, but I have an obsession with music.
I don't know if I'm necessarily nerdy about it. Maybe my wife would say that I am, but I really enjoy making music and music technology and playing guitar. I've played guitar since I was like 14 years old, which is coming up on 20 years now. That's pretty crazy. Logan and I actually bond a lot over this because we both like synthesizers and making electronic music and that sort of thing. Pedals, little boxes that make fun noises, I really enjoy. And that's definitely like my second main thing that I like. I share a lot of time doing that with my daughter, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm the type of guy that like, if I have hobbies, it's only like one or two of them. I like to know and do them really well. I'm not that time. I know some people like dabble in a lot of stuff. I have like two things I've liked doing for like 20 years, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a jack of all trades, but most of them overlap to some degree. Like I'm really into film and movies. Every weekend or every Monday I come in, talk about movies I watched over the weekend and stuff. And then literature, I read a lot. And then I do a fair bit of cycling, making music, and I like cooking a lot. That's probably the most oddball one. It's a huge part of my wife and I's relationship is chefing it up, having some drinks, making some cool food. So
yeah,
all about the arts and culture is where
that's us
my
too,
passion
our
lies.
family. Yeah. We're an arts and music family.
All right, this is from A Rotten Mango 8505 on YouTube. What would it take for you to personally buy and own a CFMOTO? If forced, would you rather spend $20,000 on a CFMOTO or an MV Agusta?
For me to personally own a CFMOTO, much like the Harley, I don't think there's a lot that they could do. Not that they make bad bikes or anything like that. I think the bikes are solid. They're just not for my demographic. I'm a very experienced rider. I'm doing pretty well for myself. They're a value-driven brand. I just don't like. I buy my bikes mostly based on emotional appeal and connection, and I just don't feel any of that with the CF Moto, unfortunately. Anything they could do for you to get a
No,
CF
I mean,
Moto?
similarly, yeah, it's just not my thing. I don't like what they represent in terms of, you know, I like things with heritage and brand legacy and brand cachet and nothing. It kind of skeeves me out, their whole thing.
I would maybe get the Papio or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
okay, that'd be-
You know, so like a little mini bike.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that could be cute, but not a real motorcycle.
Right.
Sorry if that sounds a certain type of way, but this is unplugged. That's why you're watching.
Oh yeah, I guess to answer the question, what would it take if I had a time machine and I was then could be 22?
Oh, okay.
But no, but then CF Moto wouldn't exist then. Whatever. Never mind. Too old for CF Moto is what I'm getting at. This is from Maze RL on YouTube. What in your eyes is home maintenance and what should you let a service center handle?
Home maintenance. You know, electrical work is home maintenance to me, and like I would let a service guy kind of handle that. Like I've done a little bit of electrical work here and there. Plumbing to me, simple stuff like I clear out the P-trap. I can do that, no worries. I'm pretty handy, but I know when to kind of call it. You know,
Yeah,
the
for
home
sure.
maintenance stuff.
Yeah, I think, you know, aesthetic stuff, paint, you know, maybe
easy,
refinishing
yeah.
some floors or tearing up some carpet. You know, I can get my hands dirty a little bit, but yeah, anything that is risk to safety,
Yeah.
I let the professionals handle that.
Or if it's just too much of a pain in the butt, like we had squirrels in our attic a while back in our other house, and I was like, I'll get somebody to come deal with this.
Sure.
You know. So yeah,
Squirrels
home
in the attic.
maintenance.
Home maintenance.
We know they make motorcycles. We're just being silly.
Are you going to answer for real or should we move on?
Yeah, I'll answer for real. Okay, actual motorcycle related answer there. I'm pretty handy as well. Like I'll change my own tires. I've done valve service on my bikes. I think what I like to do is if there's something that needs to get done, I like to look at like a service manual and see like, is this feasible for me to do? If I start seeing too many specialized tools, if I start seeing like 50-step processes, I'm like, you know what? Somebody else can do this. Like my Monster 1100S, like it needed Desmos, it needed belts. I theoretically could do it. I saw what it takes. You know, you got to measure the tightness of the belt and do all this. You need a special Desmo tool or whatever. And I was like, it's not too expensive. But ultimately, because time is a limited commodity for me, I just thought it's better to just take it to somebody else and just get it done that way. But I'm willing to do most stuff on my bike. I'm not going to do, because like I buy mostly bikes that are well sorted and running. I'm never going to do like a full engine out BS. I'm never going to do bottom end, whatever. Nope.
You're going to like seat piston rings or?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I do top end stuff only, valves, that sort of thing. And then that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do anything that doesn't involve getting into an engine in any capacity. Like I'm not going to do my own valves and stuff. And then I don't do tires because I don't have the tire thing. But like any sort of fluids or brakes and stuff, it's all pretty simple in most motorcycles. So
Yeah.
all right, Impatient One on Discord. So this is our last question. Kind of heady, conceptual one. Moto camping is already niche amongst riders that seem to affect primarily the ADV or brother-pilled variants of us. I used to think a motorcycle towing a tiny trailer looked gay as hell, but it's starting to make sense to me. I want to
Wait a minute. A motorcycle towing a trailer, like the bike is towing the trailer, or you're towing the bike on a trailer?
I need
Which one's
to
gay as hell?
read the rest to make sense.
so
But I
sorry.
think when I read this, I'm thinking of when like Zach and Ari did the mini campers. And
That
like,
was awesome.
But I think he means the ones that you tow behind like a bagger or whatever. That's what I think, but maybe we'll learn more. I want to ride my motorcycle somewhere, then ride the local twisties while I'm there, unencumbered by my gear.
Oh, okay. So he's talking about like a bike with a trailer.
What are your thoughts on the whole towing situation? There's some crazy stuff out there, from single wheel bag haulers up to literal mini campers.
I just think that okay, let me take a couple steps back from this whole question. Me personally, I don't understand the allure or appeal of camping in general. I'm just not that type of guy. If I'm gonna go on a big moto trip, I'm just gonna go stay in a hotel. I'm gonna end my day with a hot shower, nice bed, costs like $80 in the middle of nowhere, like that's well worth it. And then I can be unencumbered, as he said, the whole time. So why am I going to LARP like a homeless person is my thing. I've always thought that about camping. I'm like, why are you going to spend more money than it would be to just get a hotel to pretend like you're homeless? I don't get it. Imagine our ancestors. They see all of our amazing things we have. We have electricity, we have air conditioning, we have showers, running water, clean running water everywhere. And we say, no, I'm going to sleep under a vinyl tarp and then just fire up my little beans or whatever. I just don't get it. But to answer the functional element of this question of how to accomplish this task, I think at that point you just get a truck and put the bike in the back. Honestly, if that's what you're trying to do, like just I think it's you're asking for too many. There's too many requirements to this question. Like you want to bring all your stuff, but you want to take it with you. You want to get there and like unload it. It's like that KLR sidecar thing we saw on Facebook Marketplace a while back. I'm like, I just don't get it. So that's my take. What do you think?
I mean, I do like camping personally. I think there's value in doing things the hard way, kind of simplistic approach to your daily life. Do I moto camp? No, because it's a pain in the ass, you know? Camping is fun when you have the things you need, and that typically necessitates not even a car, but typically maybe a small SUV, some sort of crossover situation.
A Dodge Durango.
A Dodge Durango, Ford Expedition V8, you know, anything like that. So I don't totally understand this question. I'd say, yeah, trailer your bike down. If you want to camp, leave your stuff at the campground, locked in your truck, and ride your bike out to the twisties and do whatever. If you want to stay in a hotel, do that. I don't think you should ever haul anything with your motorcycle. If that's what you're asking, that sounds really weird and dangerous and convoluted and unnecessary in a million different ways.
It's not a hauling vehicle.
Yeah. So I guess that's my answer. Complicated question.
That is a bit complicated. And that's it.
And also, not during Pride Month, man. Not during Pride Month.
Don't do it to Logan. This is his favorite month of the year. He loves
birthday
Pride
month.
Birthday month. All right, boys. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Drop some questions in this video. Maybe we can gather questions from this video. We can it can be like an unending stream of Q&A videos where we just keep answering questions.
There you go.
That'd be sweet. Instead of me remembering to do like a community post or a Discord thing, because I don't remember to do those. And then I'm like, damn, I don't have any questions. So just drop the questions down here. Also, fun that Matthew Woods made an appearance in today's video.
Cameo.
Little cameo. Drop us a comment down below. We appreciate it. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.